Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Advanced Bass Fishing, and much appreciated you guys coming by the channel, spending with me on the video. Really appreciate that. And guys, today I want to have a conversation on why bass decide to use a certain depth or not. Because in bass fishing, depending upon the type of lake that you're fishing or river, bass can use anything between a foot of water down to 80 or 90 foot of water and everything in between. So what is it that determines if one bass wants to live in deep water and one bass wants to live in mid-depth, or one fish wants to live in shallow water? So we're going to get into that in today's video and talk also about the type of lakes that really determine the depth that the fish live in. So I think this is going to be a pretty informative deal for you guys. Also, guys, quick reminder that Solar Bath, the sale they have on my RB2 and RB3 series sunglasses I'm wearing here ends at the end of October. If you guys are interested in getting 20% off, I'll put my Solar Bat link in the description of the video. You guys can get you a pair through that link there. And my favorite color is a high contrast lens if you guys do order one, so much appreciated there. Okay guys, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it deals with bass behavior and movement a little bit. And one of the things that I've always been fascinated is, like, say for example at Table Rock Lake where I live. It's a clear water lake, and anytime that you have a clear water lake, you have bass using a lot more different depth zones than you would on a lake that's dirty. If you, say for example, if you fish a river system or a tidal river system, most all your bass are going to live in 5 foot of water or less all the time. Or even if you live in a lake that has off-colored water, say the cleanest water lake that you have in your lake is 2 foot, those fish aren't going to go that deep. They're going to live shallower. But on a lake like Table Rock, where you have clear water, I've caught fish in 1 foot of water and I've caught fish in 70 foot of water. So what is it determines the depth that the fish go in? So here's my theory on it, based upon just all my years of fishing and experience. I don't think that it has anything to do with as far as having a more preferable living environment. And a lot of people think that bass are going to search out areas that give them the best cover and the best food source. It's my theory, and this theory is based upon my observations and my reproducible results I've had in fishing, that you can't overanalyze this, because bass are just like people. They really are in this situation. It's like some people like to live out in the country, and some people are city dwellers. And for example, a friend of mine, she lives in New York City, and like right there in Manhattan, in the biggest part of New York City. And like, to me, that would be a living hell, but she loves it. And then I've got other friends that live out literally in the middle of the country where there's not a house anywhere around. And my friend that lives in New York City, they couldn't stand living out in the country. It's like completely against everything they are interested in. And some people are in between. Some people like to live in the suburbs. Some people want to live in the city, but not in an apartment. Some people want to live in the suburbs with a yard. Other people don't want to mess with the yard. It's just, everybody's got their own preferences. I think it's the same way in bass. I think that some bass, for whatever reason, they like living around that log that's in 4 foot of water. It's like, that's their home. They like to live there. Another bass, they love to live underneath the boat dock. There may be a boat dock in the back end of this cove that they've, their whole life they've lived under that dock and maybe roamed out a couple 100 yards from it and came back to that dock. There may be another bass that is on a main lake point, and that bass, depending upon the time of year, sometimes it's up shallow looking for crawdads on that point. Sometimes it goes out off the end of the point and suspends. Sometimes it goes out in 20 foot of water. And then you got other bass, like the ones that people catch with the cheater box, that roam out there in open water and not around anything. And some bass, they'll go 70, 80 foot deep. At the same time, you have bass living in 2 foot deep on a log. Literally at Table Rock, you can go in the fall time of the year and you could catch a bass in 60 or 70 foot of water at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then run to a different part of the lake and catch a bass in 2 foot of water under a lay down log, all at the same time. So why is that? That's exactly why that I'm telling you. Bass are like people. They're individual. They have individual personalities. They have individual, things that are important to them. And we can't get into a bass's mind, so we don't know for sure, but we can get a pretty good idea of what they think and what they do based upon, their behaviors, where they live at, where you catch them at. And that to me is the only reasonable explanation to it. That you can't overanalyze it. You can't say that, you know, these fish are deep or these fish are shallow or these fish want to be in this or that area. Every fish is unique and individualistic. Now, bass, they will live in different type of groups. Some bass are loners, and some bass, they will stake out a territory and they're there by themselves. Other bass, they live in little wolf packs. You know, they travel around with 2 or 3 other bass chasing shad. Other bass live in larger schools, deeper water, and they may be in schools of 15 or 20 or bigger. So if it's not another thing that adds a twist to fishing that makes it, you know, really difficult to figure out, this is just another one of those things. So anyway, I just wanted to run that by you guys. When you're thinking about why fish use different depths, that's why, in my opinion. It's just their individual personalities. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze it. And one of the things you'll find out about fishing more than anything else, always remember that bass live, or you'll catch bass where they are. There's no rhyme or reason a lot of times. Bass are simply where they are without any other explanation from that. So don't overthink it too much. So anyway, hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.